Hey everyone, in today's quick video I'm going to be talking about the Anbernic RG351MP and how this relatively old handheld is still relevant in 2026. This handheld came out all the way back in late 2021 and was part of the RG351 lineup of devices that Anbernic offered at the time. This device was one of the first retro emulation handhelds that I owned. My wife got it for me as a gift all the way back in early 2022, so I've had this thing for quite a while. I mainly used it for Game Boy Advance games that I hadn't played since I was a child, but it was kind of put on the back burner for me after I got some newer devices in my hands like the Steam Deck when that came out. But after dusting it off and really looking into what it offered, this may be one of the greatest retro emulation handhelds of all time. I'm not saying that the RG351MP itself is one of the greatest retro emulation handhelds of all time, but that the entirety of the RG351 lineup of devices are. But this line of devices left such a large impression that we're still getting clones of these handhelds even still till today. You probably have seen a dozen of those TikTok or YouTube short ads with creators pushing these clone consoles that are almost like a carbon copy of the RG351V or the RG351P floating around. I actually do have one of those clone consoles sitting around, but it's honestly not that great, but that's a story for another day. The point I'm trying to make is that Anbernic was able to make something that set the standard of its time, and we're still getting derivatives of that today. The RG351P won't win any awards when it comes to performance, features, or the screen quality, but where it does shine is in its insanely long life of community support it's gotten. The last time I really used this device was back in early 2024, and I was running a relatively old version of Amber Elect on it. When I re-picked up the device for this video and that Portmaster tutorial video that I made recently, link in the description if you haven't seen it, I wanted to see if there were any new custom firmwares available, and to my surprise it looks like DRCOS and ArcOS still supported new releases on this thing. I originally assumed that most if not all major custom firmware developers moved on to different projects or stopped supporting aging hardware like the RG351MP, but here we are. Still having software support on something this old by the community in 2026 is honestly insane. A strong community backing is one thing, but without decent hardware there would be no point in wanting to play on a device. The RG351MP is probably one of the nicer built devices I have in my collection of retro handhelds with its all metal body and high quality feeling buttons. The hand feel of this device is pretty hard to beat with how solid it is when playing games. There are no creaks or rattles when you're putting pressure on it, and I never once felt like this device was going to fall apart on me if I'm rough with it, like some of the other devices I have. It also has these nice little rubber pads on the back of the device that really help with the overall grip on it. The top shoulder buttons are clicky and all the face buttons are nice and mushy. It's honestly pretty hard to find any major complaints I have with the build of this device. I do have to say that I have had to open it up and add a couple little pieces of painter's tape under the volume button since the buttons on my device were kind of pushed in a little bit. It just made it where when you'd push down it felt really mushy and there was no real tactile click. It didn't really feel the same as the volume up button with that one being kind of clicky, but besides that the overall build quality on this thing is amazing and I absolutely love the hand feel of it. For longer gaming sessions the ergonomics aren't amazing, but holding an all metal device while playing some classic games is just really satisfying. Now moving on the specs really quick, the RG351MP has a Rockchip RK3326 with 4 Cortex-A35 CPU cores clocked at 1.5 GHz, has 1 GB of DDR3L RAM, and a 3.5-inch 640 by 480 screen resolution. It also comes with a 3500 mAh battery that's rated for 6 hours of battery life when new. It also lacks built-in Wi-Fi due to the all-metal build, but it does come with a USB-C to USB-A adapter and Wi-Fi dongle so you can connect to the internet so you can scrape box art, do over-the-air updates, or sign into your Retro Achievements account. Now to be honest, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows with the RG351MP. I've had my fair share of issues with this device, like the volume buttons not being clicky and sticking until I fixed it. I did have some major problems with the first one of these RG351MPs that I got back in the day. After unboxing it and booting it up, right out of the box I was having some really bad issues with the shoulder buttons not working and some screen issues where it wasn't really working properly at all. It probably was damaged in shipping, but since it was purchased on Amazon I was able to get a replacement one in pretty quick. It honestly left a really bad impression on me as a newcomer to the hobby back then. This RG351MP wasn't cheap either when it came out, with this one being close to $150. $150 nowadays gets you a really nice handheld that can pretty much handle GameCube and PS2 for the most part no problem, whereas this thing struggles on basic 3D games like N64. Besides that major headache with the first device I got and the price being crazy for what it is, the screen on this device isn't the highest quality. It does have some subpar colors to a ton of newer screens that we're getting today, plus the battery life isn't really amazing either, with it being only around 2 to 3 hours playing Super NES and Genesis games in my testing. It is a 4-year-old handheld with an aged battery, so I can say that it may be due to battery aging. I also noticed that the speakers on this device aren't the best either. They have an issue that I've noticed with other handhelds by Anbernic where there's like distortion or static coming from the speakers during normal use or when you're idling on the main menu without really doing anything. It might be just due to electrical interference inside the device or poor shielding, or it could also just be cheap speakers. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I've noticed it across a lot of cheaper devices. devices. On the gameplay end, the RG351MP can play a wide range of systems. Most people already know what the chipset is capable of since it's been around forever. It can play everything up to Dreamcast without too many problems after doing some tweaking of the core settings. In games like Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, the gameplay is honestly pretty smooth with minimal drops here and there when textures were caching for the first time. I did have to heavily drop the core settings to the lowest possible resolution of 320 by 240 and change every other option down to whatever it gave the best performance over accuracy. Most of the games are blurry and not accurate at all with texture glitches here and there, but it was playable at mostly full speed. I also tried out Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast and it ran pretty decently too. I did have to drop the resolution down and remove all the nice enhancements to get the game to run smooth enough to play. When there wasn't a lot going on screen, it was running at full speed, but when I started traversing the level and enemies started to pop in, there were small hitches and dips in the frame rate started to appear. Going over to the 2D systems, it was honestly a great experience. It may take a little bit of tweaking of the core settings to get it absolutely perfect for some systems like SNES, as I had a little bit of slowdown here and there when playing Kirby Superstar during my testing. After that, it was smooth sailing. Everything I tested from Genesis, NES, Game Boy Color to name a few, all played great. Just to wrap up this quick overview on this old handheld, the RG351MP is for sure dated, but for a good deal, this handheld is still awesome in 2026. It lacks a bit in areas on the performance end, but makes up for it for overall build quality and hand feel. It honestly doesn't lag too far behind compared to more modern chipsets used in low-end Anbernic devices equipped with the H700 processor. Those systems are better at getting 3D platforms up and running to a playable state over the RK3326, but they aren't so far ahead that it makes the RG351MP completely irrelevant. It is just impressive that a device that is this old in the retro handheld space is still kicking and getting community support after all these years. It's honestly not a bad choice if you can pick one of these up in 2026, but just make sure that you get one for less than $50. But anyways, that's all for today. If you guys liked the video, please drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.